In this lesson, guys, I will show you how to emit particles when the geometry breaks to pieces. The emitted particles will be used to emit smoke and debris. This will add more realism to the effect. Okay, so I will close the flipbook, and here I have the same scene from the previous lesson. So I will select the geometry as you remember. So let's click play. As you remember, we created that in the previous lesson. So I will select the geometry, and then guys, in the rigid bodies tab, I will click on debris. So now I will go to object level, and here you see we have two simulations. One is for the shattering object, and this one is for debris. Okay, so if I click play, and now you will see we will have particles emits from the pieces, okay, when they hit the ground. But if you see under the ground, guys, the particles not colliding with the ground. The reason is, if I go to debris Autodop network, you see here we don't have a ground, okay. But if you go to Autodop network, which is this one, and if I hit L, you see here we have the ground. So the pieces collides with the ground, but we don't have this ground in the debris simulation. Okay, so I can do that by going to Autodop network and Control and C. I will copy these nodes, and I will go to object level again, and I will go now to the debris simulation, and here I will hit Control and V, and now we need to merge them. So I will hit tab and type merge. Okay, so I will merge the particles with the ground. Okay, but if you click again play now, let's see if that works. It didn't work. The reason is, guys, if you select the merge, you see here we have the first input is pop solver and the second is static solver. So I will click on this arrow to move it up. So now the Houdini will calculate the static solver, which is the ground, and then we'll calculate the pop solver. So now if I hit play again, now the particles emit and hits. Sorry, let's see why that didn't work. So I will go again and see. Okay, we forgot to remove, we forgot to put this circle, the orange circle, to the merge. Okay, so this is the result. Don't forget that. So I will go to object level and then click again on play. So now you see the particles collides with the ground. Okay, so another thing, guys, you see after the object hits the ground, the particles still emitting. So we can do that. So how we can fix that? So I will go to debris simulation, and in the pop source, if you select the pop source and go to birth, and here you see we have constant activation. So I want to set the constant activation at 0 at frame 25, because I want to stop the emitting particles at 25. So I can do that by typing $F bigger than 25. So now if I hit play, now the particles emitting particle, now the geometry emitting particles after 25. So we need to reverse that and set it smaller than 25. So now Houdini will emit particles if the frame is smaller than 25. Okay, so now if I hit play again, you see now we have particles, and after reaching the 25 frame, the emitter stops. Okay, or you can animate that. If you don't want to create this expression, you can set a key. Okay, so, and here, guys, if you select the pop force, you can add noise. So I will select the pop force, and here in the amplitude I can set this one, for example, to 10. So now the particles will have turbulence on them, as you see. Okay, so now they go far away from the object, so I will leave it, for example, to 4. Okay, and now as you see, the particles are bouncing, so I don't want them to bounce, I want them to stick with the ground when they collide. So I will select the pop force, and then I will go to collision behavior, and here I will click on add hit attributes, and here in the response I will set it to stick, because I want the particles to stick on the ground. Now the particles sticks on the ground. Okay, and here guys, you see we have the pop interact. This node will control how the particles will behave with each other. So for example, if I set this one to 5, now the particles will push them away from each other, as you see. If you set it to negative, for example, they will stick to each other. Now you see we have all the particles are near to each other. So I will leave it to negative 0.2. Okay, and here guys, you see the pop drag. This controls how you want the particles losing energy. Okay, and I will go to object level, and we have another problem here guys. If you make the ground plane invisible, turn off the display, you see we have another ground. The reason is this debris grabs the simulation from the debris sim, right? But the problem is, if you dive inside the debris container, this dope importing the particles with the ground. So this node importing the particles and importing the ground too. So what we can do, we can copy this name, pop object, and then go to object level, and then I will dive inside the debris, and I want to tell Houdini or tell this node not to import the ground. So here you see we have object mask, so I will set, and I will hit Ctrl and V to place the pop object here. So now Houdini just will import the particles. Okay, so I will go to object level. Now we can turn on the display of the ground plane. So this is very important guys. Okay, and let's hit play again, and that's it. And we will use these particles guys to emit smoke. So see you in the next lesson.